Purpleberry.
I'm going.
You want a punch? We've got your punch right here.
Have you tried our dehydrated water tablets? Just add air. Don't take my word for it. See for yourself. Make a choice. Spacer's choice. Have a look.
Crew report. Ioka is drunk. Surprise.
No challenge is too large, no mess is too small.
Destination reached. Scylla.
Hey, you got a minute? Hey, boss. Got a hypothetical for you? You got a friend, see? Somebody you knew when you were growing up. You were close. Then, one day, they up and vanished. 5 years go by, they send you a message out of the aether. What's going through your head? You got the wrong idea, boss. It ain't like that. Guy by the name of Clyde Harlow. He was an old friend of mine. Honestly, he was probably my first and longest friend. I just heard from him. Says he wants to talk to me. Says it's urgent. Figured I should let you know, seeing as we're on Scylla and all. Clyde's got a base on the other side of this rock. I appreciate this, boss. I know you're going out of your way for me.
much for that! Let's take him down! Everyone all right?
We're getting close to the Hermit. I can feel it.
Maybe it's haunted. We should look around.
I'll investigate.
Jackasses incoming!
Oh, you want some of this?
Sometimes violence is the only way! Oh!
Got him, boss.
What have the solar winds deposited on my doorstep now? Just more dirt and debris? Or do you actually believe you are here seeking the truth? I must admit, I tire of the truth seekers. Mayhaps you're here to rob me? That would be so much more exciting.
We've been told this was once yours. I believe the knowledge within here contains the answers I seek. Answers that will free men's minds from toil.
I can translate it, but it won't do you any good. I can see you are a man in a hurry, and the insights in that book would take you years of study to fully comprehend.
I have spent my life in contemplation. I believe my mind is prepared to receive the truth.
There is one way that can speed up the process. It involves a combination of several ingredients, some of which can be fatal. It is not for the faint of heart or the unprepared. Either hallucinations followed by unconsciousness and a headache, or raving insanity, which can be fun in its own way. And I believe he may be right. There is both violence and peace warring inside you, Max. This process would be extremely tenuous for one such as yourself.
I'm committed, no matter the cost.
No matter the cost. It's just drugs, Max. We ain't making you walk in front of a firing squad.
All right. Head on into the meditation room and partake of the sacramental incense. It's waiting on the table when you're ready to begin.
Poor Maximilian. Maximilian, why are you still doing this? You've been fighting against the world since before you left home. Haven't you figured out yet that the more you fight, the more pain you cause yourself?
Mother, you're dead. You can't be here. I knew this was too good to be true. These are just cheap hallucinogens that have... What's happening to my voice? Does my voice sound weird to you? And what's wrong with your face?
What's wrong, Max? Can't think straight? Now you know how I feel. Wait, forget I said that.
We are obviously the victims of a tasteless joke being perpetuated. Perpetrated? I mean, we're being made fools of, aren't we? When I get out of here, I'm going to show that hermit what you get for messing with me.
Maximilian, always ready to give up, to lash out, always searching for answers, but always in the wrong place, never looking inside himself.
You look inside yourself all the time, Max. But with your head buried up your posterior.
And platitudes from a figment of my imagination, no less.
Who said I wasn't a figment of your mind? But you know the truth. You don't need someone else to tell you. You've always known it. Everyone knows it. They just won't see it. We're overwhelmed with stories from our earliest days. The stories others tell us, and the stories we tell ourselves. These stories are how we try to make sense of our lives, but they are not real, are they? They're just stories. You need to drop your story and see the truth.
I got your story right here.
I'm Vicar Max. I'm uptight. I love the church, and I'm a stooge for the board. And I don't understand that Felix is a genius.
want me to give up my discipline? My control? Oh, but I can't. I can't. Without order, there is chaos.
You need to love the chaos, Maximilian. Let it envelop you. Take you where it will. Besides, you really have no choice anyway.
No, that's not true. The basis of everything is order, not chaos. It's true, I know it is. So did you. Why are you denying it? Before you died, the plan made you happy.
No, it didn't. I made myself happy. There's nothing holding you back but you. If you can't understand that, you will never understand anything. Goodbye, Maximilian.
This whole thing, it's just a farce, right? Just my own brain working against me? You couldn't be more right. Hello, Max. What? Who? Why do you look like me? Are you me? Not really. I'm who you think you are. I am disciplined, controlled. I have no doubts. And I don't exist. Yet you have judged yourself against me your whole life. Why? Why do you berate yourself for not being me?
Yeah, Max, why do you do that?
I don't know what to say. Thank you, Captain, but I don't know. Is it wrong to try to be a gooder, better person than I am? But that's not what you're doing, is it? You're desperately trying to find a story to organize reality in your head. A story to control everything. A new story of the happy you. The contented you. Me. That's not... It can't be right. I've only been searching for the answer to the equation, because it will set us free, won't it? How? By removing the need to make any decision. To have your life completely controlled. The illusion of certainty. Your obsession allowed you to avoid the real question. Who are you? I'm Max. Me! I'm real. You can't convince me otherwise. Please don't convince me I'm not. The concept of Max is what's not real. By the architect. Architect? How could I have believed in an architect? That's ridiculous. I must be losing my mind completely. What you're saying almost makes sense. We exist inside our thoughts, thinking we're in control. That's it, isn't it? We have no control over anything. It's all lies. How could I not have seen this? But how do we escape ourselves? I see you're back with us. Feared we lost you there. Never seen anyone pass out yet stay upright before. I woke up. The illusions I built for myself just fell away. I'm no longer interpreting, I'm experiencing. Everything is perfect. No. Well, perhaps in a way I have. Look, I'm not saying it's perfect in the way you're thinking, but it is still perfect. It's all there to be experienced, to be lived. Of course there is pain and loss, but the suffering is caused by trying to control reality, clinging to the way you want things to be, not enjoying the way they are. I am content. I've finally found what I was looking for, even though I was looking for the wrong thing.
So, have you found your answers?
Not so much found as finally listened.
Yes, it is quite the convoluted maze we build for ourselves. How right you are. Words are overrated.
Captain, if you're looking for crew members Ellie or Felix, they're sharing a drink upstairs.
So then I says, fine, I'll pay you back for all of it, with interest.
Nice one. You must have had them quaking in their heels.
I mean, I wasn't really gonna do it. I just wanted to make him feel bad.
Pay you back with interest. I gotta remember that one.
Would have felt better if it had worked.
Hey, you. Looking for something? Where do you think you're going? Hey, nice form. Good delivery, too. You looking to join Captain Harlow's crew, huh? All right, go on through. Got my sights on you.
Well, hey there, Hullhead. Clawed your way out of the groundbreaker at long last?
Uh-huh. Oh, sorry, were you expecting me to say something? Maybe a long time no see, or a you've aged, old man?
Your captain has a sense of humor, Felix. Good. There's a time and place for humor. So, you took Felix under your wing. Kept him busy. Good. Kid always needed a place to belong.
I don't know what you're trying to say, but he's earned his keep with us.
Hear that, Clyde? I've been making something out of myself.
So long as you haven't been making a fool of yourself. I'm sure Felix has no end of stories to tell of your exploits together. I look forward to catching up with the boy. I'm working on something. Something big. Something the likes of which Halcyon has never seen. And I want Felix to be a part of my initiative. I'm fulfilling a promise I made to the boy, that one day, he and I would change the colony together. That day has finally arrived.
Easy there, Clyde. No one said nothing about throwing in with you. In case you didn't notice, I'm pretty happy where I am.
I'm not asking you to walk away from your captain, Felix. But neither should you allow yourself to be controlled by fear. Change is not to be feared. I brought you here because I want to know where Felix's loyalties lie. When the day of our revolution comes, I want to know that I can rely on him. That you feel insulted is a testament to your affection for the boy. I'm not asking you to let him go. Not until he's ready. I understand that Felix is part of your crew, at least for now. If the thought of losing him troubles you, then understand that you're helping him solve a problem for an old friend. I want you to deal with a traitor for me. Name's Trask. Kill him, and bring me proof of his death. His ring should do nicely. Then Felix will have done me a favor, and I will be grateful. I imagine we'll catch up on lost time, have a long talk about his future. I don't contest your claim to Felix's services, but he is his own man, and we are all of us responsible for our own destinies.
Hey, boss has a point. You're talking about me like I'm not even here.
I'm negotiating with your captain. You are his subordinate, at least for now. Routed us out to the board. He's been an informant. Has been for years. When he realized I was onto him, he and his little cadre mutinied. Killed 5 of my own and tucked tail. I don't know where he's hiding, but his wife might. Rosanna. Lives on the groundbreaker last I checked. Rosanna knows my crew by name and face, but you're a stranger to her. She'll talk to you.
Clyde offered me a hand when nobody else would. I'd say I owe him a good turn.
There you have it, Captain. A favor for an old friend.
We get rid of this traitor for you and I'm in? I mean, assuming I want in.
We're building a new world together, Felix. You'll want in. Remember, I want proof. Bring me his ring. I don't care if the hand's still attached. Here, My token. Think of this as my personal signature. Anyone who knows me by my works will know me by this token. Well enough. It's been a few years, but I still remember a thing or two. You had a chip on your shoulder. You'd argue over anything, and you never back down.
What do you mean, had? And for the record, you never could admit when you lost an argument.
You see what I had to deal with? Let's hear it. I was working on this plan for years, saving every bit I could, drawing plans. I never intended to spend my life laboring on the groundbreaker. When the opportunity presented itself,
you might have said something.
I had some ugly business in Scylla. If I told you, a revolution is the work of a lifetime, Captain. I've spent my life preparing for the day of Halcyon's reckoning. Everything you see around you is the result of that preparation. A base of operations, loyal soldiers, freedom from the board's oversight. Hardly. The board is rotting from the inside. Tomorrow, next year, a generation from now, eventually, the board will fall to... Entropy is the natural state of the universe, Captain. All systems inevitably dissolve. When that day comes to Halcyon, we will be ready. Not all revolutions involve bloodshed and fire, Captain. The purest act of rebellion is to live according to one's own means, independent of any masters. One day, when the board is weak and Halcyon vulnerable, we may claim a piece of this system for ourselves. The skies around Scylla are curiously absent of patrol ships. It's almost as if the board's sphere of influence is shrinking. Besides, our facility is well armed and located on defensible terrain. If the board tries to lay siege to us, we'll make them pay. Something on your mind?
Can we talk?
Been ages since we had a good haul. No freighters, no jobs, no contracts in weeks. We're standing around kicking rocks.
Captain, I've been thinking. Something about this Harlow guy isn't on the up and up.
You want to expand on that?
Come on, Felix. He's obviously up to something. Glad it's not just me. The way Harlow is leaning on his revolutionary bona fides, not to mention his knowing Felix back in the day, something about it feels off.
Clyde's a decent fellow. I mean, it's not like I'd take up with some double-dealing crook, right?
Good. That makes two of us. Something on your mind?
Captain, Felix and the Vicar are arguing again. The Groundbreaker has approved our request for docking, Captain. You're free to disembark.
Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following...
You mind? Trying to have a moment here. Yeah, I was called that once upon a day. You need something? Rufus and I are no longer on speaking terms. I don't know where he is, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. You're telling me you're on a first-name basis with Ms. Tennyson? All right. I'm gonna take your word for it. Rufus is hiding out in Emerald Vale. Got a few friends with him. That's as much as I know. Please, just make it quick. That's right. Our marriage contract expired some months ago. And seeing how he's technically an outlaw, I wouldn't renew even if I wanted to. Only that Rufus is in a bad way. He came to see me a little ways back. Said he had to go into hiding. Never asked why. He was here to collect his personals, complain about Harlow to me, and say goodbye. In that order. Precious little. He and Rufus worked together on the Groundbreaker some years back before he vanished. A few years later, Rufus gets a message from an old friend. Something about starting a revolution, something about getting rich. Abandoned his work and ran off that very day.
He must have been recruiting, gathering up his band of revolutionaries.
Word of advice, kid? Anybody carrying on about a revolution just wants to sell you something. I don't know Harlow, never so much as bandied a word with the fellow. You're better off having this discussion with Rufus. Appreciate it. No offense meant, just been a long day is all.
Captain, Felix and the Vicar are arguing again.
You don't think that's a problem? Whole ship's running on a computer's fancy. That'll make you nervous, Preacher?
No, Felix. The concept of a ship computer does not make me nervous. Are you scared of Ada?
I ain't scared of Ada.
Good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
It's just, she's a computer, Max. What happens when her equations tell her to cut off her oxygen? Or blast us all into space?
Felix, Ada is not sentient. She can't act out of a sense of malice. Where do you get these ideas?
I was watching True Stories of Mechanical Murderers last night.
Felix, I find your purity refreshing.
We are now in orbit above Edgewater, Captain. I'll lock up behind you.
this!
Watch a pro at work! Just like... I'm warmed up now.
I don't know who you are or why you're prowling around here, but I'm willing to make a guess. You're one of Harlow's gun hands, ain't you? He sent you after me. Right. You just stumbled into a camp full of armed strangers because you wanted directions. How much is Harlow paying you? A favor, huh? Let me guess. He promised you some reward in the brave new world that was to come. Said he'd make you his lieutenant if you crossed me off. Thing is, you and I are at an impasse. Harlow wants me dead, and I've got no intention of dying. How do I know that I can trust you? Yeah, guess that's a fair point. Listen, I don't know what lies Harlow's dripped down your ear, but you'd be a fool to trust him. I never betrayed Harlow. Harlow betrayed all of us. The board's got him in their pocket, been paying him off for years. All that palaver about revolutions? It's a lie.
You're a real piece of work, Trask. Not just a turncoat, but a liar, too.
Go piss up a rope, kid. I've got nothing to prove to you. That's the whole truth. Harlow's just another board asset. A two-bit mercenary wearing a dissident's clothes. Yeah, I've got proof. There's always a paper trail when the board's involved. I chanced upon some correspondence between Harlow and his employer. I don't know that it makes a difference. What was I to do with that evidence? Bring it in front of the board? There's no authority in Halcyon willing to take Harlow to task. Huh. You ain't like other board agents I heard about. You got a functioning spine. You want to confront Harlow yourself? Be my guest. I hid my papers before Harlow chased me out. Back in the middle of the base, there's an old vent in a utility corridor. I stashed my evidence in that vent. Because he's for sale. Anything the board can buy, the board will buy, and that includes loyalty. Harlow was a charismatic bastard, and he was ruthless. With Harlow in their pocket, the board had an informant, a pirate, a smuggler, and a gang leader all rolled up into one odious excuse for a human being. Sounds like a deal to me. Board-sanctioned piracy. Harlow went after the ships the board wanted destroyed, capturing anybody the board wanted captured. If we captured you, we'd ransom you. Harlow liked to do the job himself. Gather up the captives on his own ship, vanish for a couple of days. Only that's not what happened. Harlow's been selling his captives off to the board. I don't know where they ended up. Re-education, Tartarus, maybe worse. Take it you've made up your mind. You gonna tell Harlow I'm dead? May as well. I'm never going back to that life again. Here, take the ring. And for what it's worth, my gratitude.
machine stole my bits.
What's the word? So it is. Thus ends Rufus Trask. Once a sensible man, by and by a fool, presently a corpse.
Hope his gas bag's paying us by the hour.
I hope you never have to discover what it is like, Captain. The relief one feels when a mutiny comes to an end.
The Trask had some things to say about you, and I've got my own misgivings.
That's a damning accusation. Am I right to presume you have some evidence on hand? Those papers don't prove a thing. We've all done business with the board. They own the whole damn colony. Trask put you up to this. That miserable wretch. He's trying to undermine everything I stand for. You've got a lot of nerve calling me a liar to my face. How should I know? What the hell do I care? Trask was a traitor, and I didn't ask you to understand his motives. I asked you to cross him off.
Clyde, look me in the eye and tell me it's not true. Tell me, and I'll believe you.
Don't talk to me like I'm some common criminal, Felix. You're the one on trial, not me. I don't know what kind of poison that snake dripped in your ear, but as far as I'm concerned, you've been compromised.
Take your best shot, asshole! Big practice from this! How about that?
Here I come! This is definitely not how I imagined it'd end. The void's black, water's wet, and Clyde hated the board. That's something I just knew. Now? I don't know. I don't know what to think. I've just got a lot on my mind right now. This is a lot to take in. I always looked up to Clyde. The thought that he could be an agent of the board is just abhorrent to me. I just hope I never turn out like that. Selling my soul for a fistful of bits. Thanks for the vote of confidence, boss. You've given me a lot to think about. I'm gonna be mulling over this whole mess for a couple of days. Part of me wishes we'd put Trask in the ground. But, you know, I think that's just my frustration talking. Thanks for your time, boss. Let's make
him
this
regret
quick!
it.
I need cover!
I'm switching targets!
That's the last of him.
Here they come!
I got the drop on him.
That's one down!
Keep this up and I won't have any new battle scars. Their mistake.
Heads up, jackass! And the crowd goes wild!
Those guys are either gonna try to shoot us or sell us something potent. Either way, should be fun.
Clyde must be inside.
Down they go!
Crew members Ellie and Max are engaged in a heated discussion in the kitchen.
Max. Maximilian. Vicar. Vicky.
Yes?
Aw, this is no fun anymore.
Hey, Cap.
Hey there.
We are now in orbit above Edgewater, Captain.
I'd wager this is the outpost. Rebecca! Anders! Come on out!
Find you!
We can handle this. You are in for it now. Nice one.
Here I go! No hard feelings, okay?
Hey, take a gander. The door's busted. Rebecca? Anders? You in there? Huh. Rebecca taught me this once. You can jerry-rig these old locks so as they don't open anymore. But we've only ever done that if we're in a real bind. Here, I'll fix it. Oh no. Oh no. What did you do?
Oh, Nyoka. I'm so sorry.
They were... That bitch! They were all set to abandon us! What would Clara say, huh? Every day she'd ask if we heard from you. And she'd have forgiven you! The kid had a soul that made the sulfur smell like roses! Ugh. I'd have leave your medallions to rot with you, but Clara would want to be buried with her sister. At least I know. Ought to have learned by now that getting one's hopes up tends to open them to being dashed across the stars. I hate to say this, but Clara died thinking her sister was still fighting to get back home. I'm glad. If she were still alive now, it'd break her to know the truth. Yeah, maybe. I'm used to disappointment. She was still so naive as to let it hurt her every time it happened. Only thing left is to take these medallions home, which means figuring out how to bait the Mana Queen out of our old base. The most pissed off I've ever seen a queen was when a foreign species was on her soil. I'd wager the stench of a primal might do the trick. That'd be boring. Half the fun in exploring is the fact that you're on an unknown trail. I've never had the pleasure of hunting primals, but I hear they're all over Scylla. Let's tear a few apart, shall we? I'm sure they've got pheromones. Everything does.
If you stop in the engine room, would you ask Parvati? send Sam down to the bridge? Remember that you are not insured. Crew members Ellie and Max are engaged in a heated Destination reached. Scylla.
Hard to imagine leaving something as expensive as a terraformer lying around.
Ought to leave well enough alone.
Nice one!
Perfection!
That's the last of him.
That queen ain't gonna go down easy. I can't wait. What's up? Outstanding. These ought to be enough. Let's get back to Monarch. There's an old base I used to call home. I can get us in the door, but we'll have to shoot our way through the Queen's brood to get to the center. We'll set the bait there. Password to the door is Charon. Hayes' idea. Clara, Hayes, Anders, Rebecca, Opal, Nyoka. Charon. He said it was some old myth. Something about death and all the things we killed. Rest of us just thought it sounded cool, so here we are. Fucking right we are. It's an old cave system we tried to turn into an encampment. You'll see when we get there.
A reminder to all crew members, there is only one toilet on the ship. We're in orbit over Cascadia, Captain. We'll be here, Captain. Or will we? Haha. Just a little joke for you.
Whew, here we go. I haven't set foot in here since... Well, I'm ready. Yeah, right? Well, this is the spot. You know, I thought I'd be angry. I thought I'd storm in here in a rage and exterminate all these bugs and everything would be all right in the end. But I ain't. I'm mostly just empty. A little sad, maybe. The first night Hayes and I spent in here, we knew it was home. It's safe. It's got a nice chill to it. But mostly, it doesn't stink of sulfur. Monarch folks often joke about it. Not because of the smell or the grittiness it leaves in your throat. Not because of the headaches or the coughing. It's because there's no escaping it.
It's life here, and there ain't anything you can do about it. But here, somehow the sulfur never made it. The nights we spent in here felt like vacations. So we started building. We hauled in steel, hired sublight folk to help. That's how we met Anders and Opal. They stuck around after our contract was up. Opal liked camping. Anders liked chasing her tail. 4 of us for a while, scraping together what bits we could to build our home. Then came Rebecca, a sawbones out of the Cascadia survivors, who took a kindness to Hayes. And Clara, her little sister. I'll admit I wasn't keen on taking her on at first, but for a teenager, she was surprisingly capable. More like attached at the hip to her older sister. Got a kind of strength between them, I suppose. She had a head for numbers, helped us trade hides for food and materials, negotiated contracts. Turned out to be mighty useful. Clara, Hayes, Anders, Rebecca, Opal, and me. 6 folks, 1 name, 1 family. Charon. Despite Monarch trying to kill us day in and day out, we managed to belong.
Take your best shot, asshole! That's a tough one!
I wish these were more auspicious circumstances, but at least we're all here. This bringing them together, burying them. This is the kind of thing Hayes would have done. That makes it stupid. By all accounts, we should have left well enough alone, but that also makes it right. Captain, thank you. Damn, ain't much for niceties, huh? You mind if we rest a spell before we head out? I'd like to bury Opal and Clara proper before I lay everyone's medallions to rest. What? Why? Them's painful memories, Captain. Huh. That ain't a bad point. All right, Captain. Thanks.
Some crew members are causing a
Dead center. Next round's on you.
Shh, the captain's coming. Put your gun away. Act casual.
Oh, yes. This'll about do. That's a mighty clean weapon. Yep. Ain't no call for a closer inspection by anybody.
Remember, Sublight is not responsible for any loss of property incurred while patrons are on Fallbrook property. I am here to anticipate and facilitate your needs, patron.
Hey, Cass. Knock, knock.
Go away, White.
My dry goods come 75% guaranteed mold-free. Was that 75% mold-free? No rubbernecking. Make a buy or move on.
you're hurt. Take cover.
Watch out! Ellie's been taken out!
Used to be, you can get the best wine on Monarch here.
You take us to the nicest places, Captain. Getting my target practice in today.
Here we go! Him won't work! Him won't work! Plasma isn't working! Can't get past that armor! Plasma isn't working! Can't get past that armor! We're done here. Here we go.
Down they go!
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship. We are now in orbit above Byzantium, Captain.
Can't something exciting happen around here for once?
Nothing wrong with stability. It means everything's running like clockwork.
Don't you ever want a little fun? Maybe see a marauder ship get blown to bits overhead?
What a thing to say. Everyone knows marauders can't fly.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! The million-bit smile? How'd you like to make it worth 10 million? Kid, you got presence. Natural magnetism, know what I mean? There's those street smarts. Just the right amount of rough around the edges. Next time, we'll have you say that over the rim of a Trippistout. Product placement, baby! Listen, you got an agent? Some kind of representation? Fresh, natural talent. I know it when I see it. Listen, you got a real special quality, raw energy. I see you in pictures, kid. I'm making a feature, Space Pirates of Moros Prime. It's gonna be a hit. But we still need a star, and I think you got the chops.
Not so fast. First, we gotta talk about royalties.
Let's just see where this audition goes, huh? So what do you say? You ready for the chance of a lifetime? Terrific! We're holding auditions at the studio. Head to Odeon Pictures and take the elevator. You're going all the way to the top, baby.
Sandy Cleo's Pipe Punch. All of the benefits of smoking a real pipe, none of the messy cleanup.
Is that supposed to be a model of the system? It's not super accurate. I once treated a lady who got her hand caught in the gears. Idiot was more worried about her rings than her fingers.
CNP Borston Baked Beans. When you need to eat and run, Borston Baked Beans is the only one. Spacer's Choice Arena. For life's little injuries.
I'm afraid I can't come down anymore, my good man. I'd have to request a counter waiver, and you know how dreadful the paperwork is.
Don't I ever, my dear fellow? Why, I spent 3 hours filing a discussion authorization just to commence our little tete-a-tete.
How we suffer in the...
Rizzo Spectrum
All right, how does this sound? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to walk into you like that. Oh my goodness! Ruth Bellamy? I simply adore your work.
We've been over this already. You can't rehearse running into Ruth Bellamy. It's not going to work.
Fine, fine. What about this? Oh, my stars! It's Halcyon Helen? May I have your autograph?
Citizens, today marks a monumentous occasion in the course of Halcyon history. After a deep and thorough examination of our budgets, revenue streams, and predictive models, we are publishing our yearly success report. Profits are soaring, promotions abound.
Sure, they look fancy, but inside, they're just marble and existential emptiness. There's my parents' place. Smell that? Industrial-grade cleaning solvent and desperation.
You blame her. Once we nail down the details, I can't wait to show you.
Marilyn, is that you?
Moss, we certainly didn't expect to see you like this.
And I didn't expect you to renew your marriage contract. But we're all full of surprises today, aren't we? Speaking of surprises, you should meet my new friend. We've been running around the system for a while now, stirring up all sorts of trouble. There you go again, Captain. Always menacing polite society. Anyway, you're probably wondering where I've been all this time.
Not exactly.
The last few years have been a bloody haze. You wouldn't believe the messes we've gotten ourselves into. Right? Yep, we're a pair of disgraceful lowlifes.
Marilyn, this really isn't the best time. Perhaps you should go.
I mean, we had other business in Byzantium, so it's not like we went out of our way. But you can't just kick us out. We'll stay as long as we like. And while we're at it, we'll drink your expensive hooch, wear our outside shoes all over your nice floors. Just a second. You had the floors redone with real Terran marble? Since when can you afford that?
That's what we've been trying to tell you, dear, but you must understand, we hadn't heard from you in ages.
We thought you were dead.
I'm not dead. I just never wanted to talk to you again.
I'm afraid the distinction was lost on us, darling.
We only did what any grieving parents in our position would do. We collected on your life insurance policy.
And the payouts have been rather, substantial.
You what?
Of course. And we shall always harbor that joyful secret deep within our hearts.
And you'll report it to the insurance company, right?
It's not that simple. For one thing, we'd have to cut back on so many necessities. The neighbors would be sure to notice.
That's the other problem.
We had to explain your disappearance somehow.
We couldn't very well tell people you'd run off to become a miscreant, could we? Shh! Someone could hear you.
We concocted a story about Celeste Jollycurl designing a pair of 12-inch heels for you.
One of a kind, naturally.
That led to your tragic death when you tripped and broke your neck.
It was quite the story. People were talking about it for weeks.
Not until I get some answers. Couldn't you have at least made up a better story? Something with pirates or raptidons? And what are you gonna do now that we're here?
Yes, about that. We were just about to ask you to, leave.
Quietly, if you don't mind. She hasn't changed a bit, I see.
That's it? You just want us to disappear now?
Marilyn, please.
Don't cause a scene.
Let's just get out of here, Captain. Fine. I'm gone. Forever this time.
Let's just put this unpleasantness behind us.
Oh, could you please leave quietly now?
Can we talk? Can you believe those two? We'd hardly been there a minute and they turned us out like yesterday's garbage. I wanted them to get upset. I just thought it would play out differently. They'd both be sitting there watching one of their vapid aetherwave dramas, and then we'd walk in. Mother would drop her mock apple cider, and the glass would shatter all over their overpriced marble. Father would tear off his glasses and blink open-mouthed. Shh, I'm getting to the good part. I'd have a great one-liner in the tube. I was thinking either, the leather's fake but the scars are real, or, oops, did I just track awesome onto your rug? Yeah, I'm gonna use that one day. Now, getting back to my story. Father would throw his hands up, because this would be just like me, to come back and make a big scene. Then, Mother would do the old, "You had us worried sick." Her eyes would be red, and she'd have her fist in front of her mouth to stifle a sob. I'm not hurt. I'm outraged. Affronted, even. I just didn't want to get booted out of the house I grew up in like that. It's embarrassing, you know. And I've got a reputation to maintain. I'm used to rough situations. Like when someone loads your pistol with blanks and strands you in a Marauder moonbase, or traps you in an airlock with an angry mantis worm. But I want to talk about me now. Unless you mean the kind who'll look out for you to blink so they could swipe your bits. The galaxy's not exactly crawling with those. Anyway, I don't want to sift through this lousy experience for meaningful life lessons. I'm mad, and I want to do something about it. Something like... Wait a second. What if I could get that money? I could open a new account, designate that account holder as a sole beneficiary. All the payouts would go to me. I'll make money without doing a thing, and I'll get to cut them off. As long as I don't develop a taste for Wolgonzola and bad legal dramas, that's fine by me. My policy is with the Greater Halcyon Insurance Group. They have an office in Byzantium. Maybe you could use some of your people skills to help me set up a dummy beneficiary account. If that doesn't work, I'm sure we can find one of their terminals and do it ourselves. Something on your mind? What did I tell you? His down with the man shtick was just an act. No one who yammers that much means half of it. Obviously not. And better for Felix to know that now rather than become the next Trask. Don't get all mushy on me now. Come on, what did we just learn? People look out for their own interests. It's a fundamental law of nature, same as gravity and conservation of motion. Sure I can. In fact, I bet you I live a lot longer. I'm warning you, that reverse psychology stuff doesn't work on me. Sure do. And unlike you, Captain, the rest of us don't get a big fancy room with wall-to-wall windows. But let's forget about that, please. Anyway, you really want to tell me you're helping the scientist because you think he'll save the colony? And here I thought I'd seen it all. This galaxy must be bigger than I'd thought. Enough about Harlow, though. Anything else? I guess we're going to Fallbrook.
Captain, if you're looking for crew members Ellie or Felix, they're sharing a drink upstairs. We're now in orbit above Fallbrook, Captain. Remember that you are not insured.
Said you docked 3 days ago?
This looks like the place. You ready?
I see you're still in one piece. However, you never know when that could change. Consider our accidentally torn into tiny fragments coverage. Note that all of your fragments must be recovered and must be smaller than a standard bit cartridge for the payouts to kick in. I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course, no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one.
Are you serious?
Well, we interviewed the parents extensively.
They had plenty of awkward childhood stories that illustrated their daughter's clumsiness and capriciousness.
Hey, those are entirely made up.
Furthermore, the claim spurred a whole line of fashion-related policies. It's become a very lucrative market. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhill can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead. If we let every friend, relative, and acquaintance change a policy like that, people would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Oh, you mean hypothetically? Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd, theoretically, add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud. Please, my policy only covers paper cuts and wrist strain. Very well, I'll do it. But then you've got to go. Confrontations like this will raise my premiums. I'll need the name of the new beneficiary.
Ellie Fenhill?
If you say so. The payouts will flow exclusively into the new account at the start of the month. I hope Ms. Fenhill enjoys her newfound prosperity.
A word, Captain? You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it. Hey, you did the real work. All I had to do was not be dead. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs. Come on, I thought we were celebrating. You want me to think about the future? You talk like someone who likes lists. Maybe you haven't noticed, but you can't even count on a bribe making it into the right pocket. What's the point of planning for anything around here? Hate to say it, but Halcyon's already there. Anyway, enough of that. You did a job for me, so here's your fee. Don't make it weird. Even you've got to be in it for the money now and then. Why else would you go through all this trouble? You sure? Because my kind of friends will pick your pocket clean while they're getting hammered with you. You don't have to get all mushy about it. Still, maybe you've got a point. Maybe it's good to watch someone's back now and then so that one day, they watch yours. So, you just keep the money. One of us has to look out for your interests. Yeah, don't make too much of this, okay? Something on your mind?
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship.
Now, hold on. What happens if we hit the wall?
Most likely, the bullet will ricochet, which could be bad. Or hilarious. There's a tiny chance of a hull puncture, which would suck us into space one chunk at a time. Bad and hilarious.
Ugh. Just imagining that makes me sick.
That's why we don't miss.